The rules are now out. Jake Paul getting ready for an Anthony Joshua fight, and some of these rules may surprise some of you guys.
Both fighters will be using 10-ounce gloves for the duration of the contest.
And Anthony Joshua has a weight limit of 245 pounds.
Jake Paul is in a full-blown meltdown after Anthony Joshua released the official Queensberry rules for their December 19th fight. With 10-ounce gloves, real knockouts, and official records on the line, Jake instantly looked like a man who had just signed his own career death warrant. What was meant to be hype for Jake has instead turned into a public announcement exposing just how outmatched he is under genuine heavyweight regulations, highlighting the stark contrast between him and Anthony Joshua.
Boxing. Anthony Joshua is going to take on the YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul in a professional bout in Miami next month. The former world heavyweight champion
Jake Paul deluded enough to think it was a good option to get in the ring with Anthony Joshua.
The moment the official fight rules were released, everything around Jake Paul went dark. Gone were the hype, the chaos, and the usual influencer circus he thrives in, just black. Anthony Joshua lifted the curtain on the illusion, revealing the reality, a fully sanctioned heavyweight showdown on December 19, 2025, at Miami's Casa Center, where one man will leave victorious and the other faces a very real risk of being flattened.
Jake's a good novice. Oh, yeah. And if he wanted to have a legitimate career in boxing, then he would climb the domestic rankings in America, and he might even make top 50.
Jake had spent years meticulously building his empire, the bravado, the controversy, the social media stunts, the viral moments. But one rule sheet later, Joshua shattered it as if it were made of fragile glass. The conversation changed instantly. People stopped asking who would win and started asking a far more urgent, grim question: how long would Jake survive? Minutes, rounds, or mere seconds?
It's a huge risk. It's a huge risk. You can't look away from that.
The boxing world didn't just react, it erupted. Analysts, promoters, retired heavyweights, and casual fans all sounded like they were reading a funeral notice. There was no sugarcoating it. Jake was willingly walking into a situation where the odds were absurdly against him. Joshua isn't here for influencer theatrics. He's the man who has faced 260-pound knockout monsters, world champions, and elite contenders. This isn't a scripted spectacle. Joshua is entering a professional arena and making it clear that Jake Paul might be out the door before the first bell even rings.
You've got to be in it to win it, and AJ was in the right place to maximize the opportunity around him, and he has defined a sensational legacy.
After this, so what are the rules? The bout will take place at a heavyweight, obviously. It's going to be 8 3-minute rounds. You might think, well, that's better for Jake Paul, and I'm thinking, not really. It's better for Anthony Joshua because he's just going to go all out for them 8 3-minute.
Here's the part that truly set the internet on fire. These weren't soft, entertainment-friendly rules designed to protect Jake. These were Queensberry rules, the same unforgiving standard used in real heavyweight battles. No loopholes, no exhibition cushions, just 8 rounds of 3 minutes each, totaling 24 minutes of potential devastation.
Both fighters will be using 10-ounce gloves for the duration of the contest.
10-ounce gloves, light, lethal, and designed to deliver maximum damage. No headgear, no slow pacing, no referee coddling a YouTuber who thinks he can just stroll in and survive a clean shot from Joshua. And nearly every analyst, fan, and probably even his own corner expects he won't. Whatever happens goes straight onto Jake's professional record for all time.
Contest is a professional bout and will go on the boys' records. But that being said, this is heavyweight boxing, anything can happen. I'm going to give you my prediction right now.
Joshua didn't just approve those rules, he demanded them. Every detail underscores the fight's legitimacy, dragging Jake out of his influencer playground and into a real battle that could, and likely will, devastate him. Jake's usual advantages vanish. His speed is negligible against a man who has thrown and taken hundreds of genuine heavyweight punches in professional bouts, and his size barely registers against the challenge Joshua poses. His tactics of bullying smaller or fatigued opponents are rendered irrelevant. Joshua has crafted the fight so meticulously that every aspect, pace, strategy, raw power, endurance, and psychology, tilts in his favor.
200 pound versus 252 pound. We got a 252 pounder in Anthony Joshua.
And then there's the weight limit, 245 pounds for Joshua, light enough to move like a predator, heavy enough to rattle bones and confidence alike. 8 rounds, 3 minutes each, 10-ounce gloves, and knockouts fully legal. That's enough to make anyone break a sweat. Jake's entire cruiserweight toolkit suddenly looks like a sparkler against a flamethrower. Every jab, hook, and counter Joshua throws will land with the force of a man who has faced, measured, and dismantled opponents 20 pounds heavier and far more
We
experienced.
just want to see it because there's a lot of hate out here on influencer boxing. A lot of people have got different opinions on boxing these days. But I want to ask you, do you box?
The more people examined the rules, the grimmer it looked for Jake. Fans began calling it a death chamber because there's no safety net. Under exhibition rules, he might survive. Under influencer rules, he could stall. But under true heavyweight regulations, there's nowhere to hide. Every second of every round, Joshua has full license to deliver the same punishing force he's used on actual world champions. Jake went from controlling the narrative to stumbling blindfolded into a battlefield he thought he understood, but clearly didn't.
If this is a real, legitimate fight, Jake Paul is absolutely crazy. If not crazy, he's super brave. And it'll be interesting to see.
Joshua said it himself, no mercy. And when Anthony Joshua says that, it lands in a way few words ever do. This wasn't a promo line, it was a declaration, a cold, unmistakable promise. You could almost hear the boxing world fall silent, knowing exactly what no mercy looks like coming from him. Men collapsing from body shots, knockouts that end careers, a level of force and precision Jake Paul has likely never experienced. The raw power of a natural heavyweight, executed with professional mastery.
Can happen in a variety of ways, various ways, but I'm not dependent on punch power, you know.
That statement alone shattered Jake's image. For the first time in years, he didn't seem in control. His interviews were shaky, his jokes forced, his confidence uneven, and even his fans could sense it. The same people who once hyped him up now sounded uneasy. Even his diehard supporters admitted they were worried. That's not normal, it's the unmistakable energy that emerges when the audience senses the danger before the fighter ever does.
A professional heavyweight fight against an elite world champion in his prime. When I beat Anthony Joshua, every doubt will disappear. He's talking to you, Charlamagne.
Okay.
It makes sense. Jake built his brand as the disruptor, the guy who shocked the world, the man who humiliated fighters who underestimated him. But Joshua didn't underestimate him. He crafted the rules so Jake couldn't play games, stripping away every safety net he'd ever relied on. This wasn't influencer boxing or a crossover spectacle anymore. It was a heavyweight predator standing across the ring from a cruiserweight showman. Once the rules were public, it stopped feeling like hype and started feeling like a countdown. December 19th ceased to be just a fight date, it became a warning. The day Jake Paul steps into something bigger, harder, and far more violent than anything he's ever faced. And whether he realizes it or not, the world has already made its judgment. Jake didn't just lose the narrative, he lost the room.
AJ could wake out his sleep, all right,
Okay.
and put Jake Paul to sleep. And I ain't taking nothing from Jake Paul. I'm just telling you, I respect the fact that Jake Paul is getting in the ring with somebody like Anthony Joshua, but I'm telling you, night.
All Joshua did was release the rules, but the rules spoke volumes. Jake Paul walked in expecting a spectacle, and Joshua transformed it into a professional slaughter, something the internet immediately understood.
Joshua is big, heavy puncher, but not as evasive. So I think if Jake has the right game plan, he has a pretty good shot of winning this.
Joshua made it painfully clear that he wasn't treating Jake as a celebrity guest fighter or some crossover novelty. He spoke about him the same way he talks about real heavyweight threats, men like Vladimir Klitschko, Dillian White, and Kubrat Pulev, with that cold, clipped tone he switches to once the promotion ends. He's hunting, and Jake felt it immediately. The man who built his brand on chest-puffing bravado and "I'm untouchable" energy suddenly looked unplugged. Every interview after that clip carried a strange, shaky, "I'm fine" vibe, the same tone people use when they're 6 seconds away from crying in public. Even his fans noticed.
Well, by the sounds of it, there's 50 million reasons why Anthony Joshua's taken this fight. In my head, I never ever thought this fight would happen. Why? Because of Anthony Joshua's desire to be in the history books, to be a 3-time heavyweight champion of the world. To me, it shows me his desire.
Joshua wasn't merely issuing a threat, he was setting the tone for a real fight. This wasn't a spectacle, a money grab, or a fun experiment. It was a battle that would be permanently recorded in the professional books. He made it clear, he wasn't here to entertain Jake Paul's audience. He was here to erase him, erase his confidence, his hype, his entire narrative. When Joshua speaks like that, he means it. He doesn't make empty threats, he does damage. And Jake Paul walked straight into the crosshairs.
Be the same for all of us, you know. Honestly, all of us. Many a greats have walked it before. All of the undercard are going to walk it. I'm going to walk it. I'm going to feel just like any of them. But when I step into that ring, that's when I switch on and I'm ready. So.
But the real brutality isn't just in what Joshua said, it's in how the rules back him up. These aren't influencer rules or YouTube boxing gimmicks. These are full, unforgiving professional Queensberry rules, the same arena where Joshua has sent elite heavyweights to the Shadow Realm. The moment those rules became official, it was as if someone had pulled the plug on Jake Paul's entire strategy board.
This is a more dangerous fight than Gervonta Tank Davis, but it's a more winnable fight than Gervonta Tank Davis.
Let's start with the basics. Heavyweight rules are brutal for Jake Paul. He's a cruiserweight at best, and even there, his power only impresses against smaller opponents or those past their prime. Under real heavyweight conditions, his punches might as well be gentle taps. Anthony Joshua has absorbed blows from men who hit like wrecking balls, 260-pound destroyers with decades of experience, and still stood tall. Jake's YouTube power is about to feel like a mosquito bite on a battleship.
I think that it's a hopeless and potentially dangerous mismatch.
And the weight limit is brutal. Joshua being capped at 245 pounds is terrifying for Jake because that's Joshua at his deadliest. At that weight, he's fast enough to evade punches and precise enough to slice through defenses, yet still heavy enough to rattle bones with a single jab. As for the right hand at that weight, Jake probably shouldn't even imagine it.
Well, I quite hope for Jake Paul's long-term well-being that he does see it as a bit of a sparring exercise and something to get a few minutes under his belt in a ring in front of a big crowd before going on to fight Tyson Fury.
Then there's the glove size, 10 ounces. Basically, hand grenades wrapped in leather. These aren't made for protection, they're engineered to deliver maximum damage. With no headgear, every punch transfers pure, unfiltered power. If Joshua lands cleanly on Jake, the lights might actually flicker. Add 8 full 3-minute rounds, and Jake is stepping into a world he has never known. 3 minutes against a real heavyweight can feel like 3 hours underwater.
So I think AJ will struggle because it's an Owen situation. If he goes in there and Jake Paul lasted the distance, what does he tell you about AJ? Apart from he's just done an extra 15 minutes.
These rules don't just favor Joshua, they expose Jake. They tear away every illusion that's shielded his brand for years. Under influencer rules, Jake could skate by with awkward pacing, sloppy footwork, and cardio tricks. Under heavyweight rules, it's all about survival. The distance is longer, the power is real, and the pressure is relentless. There's no referee stepping in to give Jake a breather. Joshua can walk him down, cut off the ring, and trap him just like he does with true contenders.
And they both earned a spectacular amount of money, and this will be likewise. But I think anybody expecting a good fight, I think they're looking at the wrong thing, because it ain't going to be a good fight if this is on the level.
This isn't Jake stepping into a boxing match, it's Jake stepping into a test he wasn't built for. A test Joshua has already passed against world champions. These rules pull Jake out of the influencer sandbox and throw him straight into a shark tank where everyone is bigger, stronger, smarter, and far more dangerous. In that tank, Jake Paul isn't the star, he's the appetizer.